Hello, I'm David Rigano. Welcome to our very first Broadway on Deck producer profile. The producer who we're profiling today is Dave Ogrin, who is the producer and the creator of Wild Women of Planet Wongo.
Broadway on Deck.
Hi, Dave.
Hey there, David. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We're taking a little time away from our rehearsal of Wild Women of Planet Wongo to do this.
Being brilliantly directed by David Rigano.
Oh, well. The first question that I want to ask you about producing is something that came from the All Things Broadway Facebook group this morning, or last night, and it was, what does a producer actually do?
Oh my gosh. Put out a lot of fires, basically. I lead a small army of about 33 people here in Chicago to make sure that everything goes smoothly. I mean, a lot of the producer's job, obviously, is to figure out who to hire, how to pay for it all, where to do the show, what's the best way to market the show, and figure out how to get the word out. And then it's just a lot of coordination and making sure that everybody's comfortable in communicating with each other and giving people enough space to do their job, and also making sure that they actually are doing their job.
Great, that's a really nice, succinct answer about that. So wearing both the composer hat and the producer hat, you've put on a few different shows.
I've written a number of musicals, and Wongo was actually the first one I wrote.
What are some of the other shows that you've written? Because I know you've had stuff in the New York Musical Theater Festival and some other festivals.
Yeah,
around.
well, Wongo was in Nymph, and also I had a show in the Fringe Festival a few years ago called The Legend of Julie Taymor, the musical that killed everybody, which was a rough spoof on the whole Spider-Man thing. I also had another show at the O'Neill called Hell Hole Honeys, and then I've written a rock opera about Mata Hari, which has been done in a couple of schools. But Wongo is the only thing I've ever produced.
Okay.
But
he's done it 3 times, and it ran for 10 months downtown in New York.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that we get similar life here in Chicago. So tell me about the process of doing it 3 times and what we have learned every time we've done it. Sort of what's been different and what's been consistent.
Well, it's a lot of interesting pieces to that, I guess. Part of it is that Wongo is a 60s parody, and while we want to keep the integrity of that to a certain extent, we've also made the show very accessible for younger people who obviously don't remember the 60s. So keeping it relevant to now at the same time, also making it a parody of what happened then, it has been an interesting challenge.
And I think one of the things that, if I may interject, one of the things that we've discovered in the keeping it relevant to now is not just that people will understand it, but that sensibilities have so changed since the 60s that we're trying to make sure that we are not endorsing some of the things that are present in the show, but that we're spoofing them.
And then there's also, we made the decision a while back to try to keep Wongo kind of portable. Part of what I wanted to do was to create something that did not have a lot of heavy pieces, and that could be done basically with most of the sets being animated and projected and that sort of thing. So that's been an interesting growth period to figure out how to refine that more and more, and as each production has gone on, we've managed to figure out how to make this more and more immersive. Initially it was really just trying to figure out how do we involve the audience in this show, and now we have a lot of ways that we involve the audience in the show, and it's really grown tremendously, and it continues to grow. And a lot of people say that we're sort of like a combination of Rocky Horror and Mystery Science Theater 3000 because it has that cheesy sci-fi element to it. And I think we've done a pretty good job of establishing that, so it's growing into that.
By the end of the New York run, we did have people not necessarily mimicking the Wongo costumes, but we had people showing up in some interesting outer space outfits.
Yeah, we were only able in New York to play initially just 1 day a week. That's all we could afford. Here we're going to be playing 4 shows a week, and for less money than it cost in New York. So that's great.
Yeah, we did have a few questions as well, specifically from a producer's point of view, getting jobs in the theater. What do you look for? We're doing a very specific type of show. They're getting into alien makeup over there. So it's a very specific type of show. But what do you generally look for, both as a creator and as a producer, when you're auditioning a show?
Well, a lot of energy and a dedication and willingness. Obviously, they have to be able to sing and dance well. And in this case, I mean that was part of what we started with. But we're looking for people who seem like they're serious about what they're doing. They feel the dedication, feel a sense of that they've done something like this before, or at least that they're really willing to dive into it and make it happen. It's mostly that. It's a lot about the chemistry of feeling like you can put together a little family, which really is what it is.
We've always accomplished that. I feel
Been
with
very
Wongo.
very lucky.
Someone wanted to know if their background is not in theater but is in video editing and video creation. They wanted to know if there's an in for tech theater from that.
Well, there's so much tech now, for God's sake. Of course, it's really good to have that background, and there's lots of work involved because more and more people are using more video screens and more highly technical things.
Certainly in our show.
There's a lot of it in our show.
Yeah. And even in this show, it's we have the projected backdrops, most of which are animated, some of which are kind of static. But we also have 2 of the characters in the play are cartoons.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It was my idea. Really, I just wanted to cut down the number of cast members.
The voiceover actor gets no residuals for this.
That's David.
Another question was, and I think they were specifically asking for Broadway, which is a separate level from what we're doing.
I've never done Broadway yet.
But the question is, in the professional theater, can one work on the tech side and as a performer?
No, there are a lot of people who do. Yeah, absolutely. Look, everybody multitasks these days, and half the lighting designers you talk to also want to be actors or also are actors. People find ways to do multiple things because you have to survive in the business.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it's possible to do.
We've got
our makeup designer over there is an actress. There's lots of
she's doing our show while she's going into tech for a show that she's in.
Yeah.
And we have a performer who's also on the tech
doing
for
tech
our
for
show.
us too. Yeah. We that's part of what we tried to establish here in the show. We have some people have multiple roles, not only as actors but also to be able to help us run the show. So that it just cuts down the number of people involved.
I agree. The more things you can do, the more work that you'll get.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, David.
Please do be sure to subscribe to the Rigano Songbook YouTube channel, as well as going back to the All Things Broadway YouTube channel for full episodes of Broadway on Deck.
Can we plug Planet Wongo?
So, All Things Broadway YouTube channel, Rigano Songbook YouTube channel, planetwongo.com. If you are going to be in Chicago this summer, please come see us. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. All right. Bye.
Broadway on Deck.